The first time I realized people at work genuinely didn't respect me, I was crouched under a conference table trying to fix a loose HDMI cable while two coworkers argued over who was getting promoted. Nobody acknowledged I was even down there. One of them kicked my coffee by accident. Didn't notice, kept talking. I remember staring at coffee spreading across industrial gray carpet and thinking, weirdly calmly, if I disappeared in this office for 3 days, they'd probably just assume I was working remotely. I'd been at the company almost 5 years. Operations department, mid-sized freight logistics firm outside Minneapolis. Beige walls, always cold. Half the fluorescent lights flickered slightly, especially near accounting. People stopped noticing it after a while. I stopped noticing a lot of things after a while. Like how everyone interrupted me. Or how my ideas somehow sounded smarter 2 minutes later when a man repeated them louder. Or how Melissa, technically my supervisor though only by title, had this way of smiling while making you feel 12 years old. "Oh, Ava's still working through the reporting side," she'd say in meetings. Still working through, as if I were struggling privately with basic shapes. Then she'd turn to Greg or Tyler and ask what they thought, even when I'd built the spreadsheet they were staring at. The thing is, none of it looked dramatic from the outside. That's why it took me so long to admit it was happening. Nobody screamed at me. Nobody openly bullied me. It was smaller, constant. Death by paper cuts with corporate email signatures underneath. And I helped create it, honestly. I volunteered too much, laughed when people talked over me, said sorry before asking questions, stayed late without being asked because I thought eventually somebody would notice. They noticed, just not in the way I hoped. Around February, we hired a new coordinator, 23, loud in a very confident way. Wore expensive sweaters to work like she had a trust fund or an Instagram sponsorship deal. Sophie. First week there, she walked into the break room while I was cleaning yogurt out of the office microwave because it exploded during my lunch. She watched me for maybe 2 seconds and went, "You're seriously too nice for this place." I laughed a little. Not because it was funny, because I thought she was mocking me. But she wasn't. She opened the fridge, grabbed her energy drink, then said, "They're gonna keep doing it, you know." What? The whole thing. She gestured vaguely toward the office. "Dumping stuff on you. You make it easy." There are comments you forget immediately, and comments that follow you home. That one sat with me all night. Not in an inspiring way. More irritating than inspiring. Because I knew she was right. A few days later, Melissa forwarded me a vendor issue at 5:17 p.m. No context. No explanation. Just, "Need this fixed tonight." I stared at the email for a long time. Then I typed, "I can look at it tomorrow morning." I rewrote the sentence 4 times before sending it. Tomorrow morning sounded rude. Everything sounded rude once you're used to making yourself convenient. Melissa responded almost immediately. "Disappointing. We really need team players right now." I actually felt guilty for about 10 minutes, then angry that I felt guilty. I still went home shaking a little. That's the embarrassing part nobody talks about. Setting boundaries when you're not used to it doesn't feel empowering at first. It feels like you're about to get fired. I started going to the gym around then too, though not consistently. Sometimes 3 times a week, sometimes none. The internet makes personal change look cinematic. Mine mostly looked like sitting in my car outside Planet Fitness trying to convince myself to go inside. But things did shift, not all at once. I slept better, stopped eating lunch at my desk, started reading again instead of scrolling until 2 in the morning feeling vaguely poisoned by everybody else's life. I cut my hair shorter. Melissa noticed that before she noticed anything else. "You look different," she said one morning near the printer. I said, "Yeah, little shorter." She kept looking at me for a second too long. Not threatened exactly. Recalculating. That's the word. People get uncomfortable when the version of you they memorized starts behaving inconsistently. A month later, there was a budgeting meeting that turned into the moment everything started breaking open. Quarterly review. 12 people in the room, bad coffee, somebody's cheap cologne floating around the table like chemical warfare. Melissa was presenting delayed shipment penalties to senior management. Halfway through, she pulled up a spreadsheet I'd made. Except now the errors in the report were apparently my errors too. She said it casually. "Ava's numbers were slightly off here, but we corrected most of it before submission." My stomach dropped so fast, it almost hurt. Because those numbers weren't mine. And for about 3 seconds, I almost did what I always did. Freeze politely. Then something strange happened. I got tired. Not angry, not brave, just exhausted. I interrupted her. Actually interrupted. "That's not true." The room went very still. Melissa blinked at me like she physically wasn't used to resistance coming from my direction. I could hear the projector fan humming. Greg looked between us carefully, already trying to calculate what version of this conversation would create the least HR paperwork. Melissa smiled. Tiny smile. "Well, there may have been confusion over version control." "No." My voice sounded weirdly steady. "Those aren't my revisions." She gave a soft laugh then, like I was being sensitive instead of factual. God, I hated that laugh. "You approved the changes Thursday night," I said. "I think you're misunderstanding." "I'm not." Nobody moved. Tyler suddenly became deeply interested in his laptop screen. And this is the part that still bothers me when I think about it. I wasn't scared of being wrong. I was scared of sounding difficult. That's how trained I'd become. Melissa finally said, "Ava, maybe we should discuss this privately." Which translated to, "Stop embarrassing me publicly." But I'd already crossed whatever internal line I'd been standing behind for years. So I opened my email. My hands were shaking enough I almost missed the attachment. Then I turned the monitor toward the conference table. Approval chain, tracked edits, timestamp, her login. Nobody said anything for maybe 5 full seconds. Not dramatic silence either, office silence. People looking down, adjusting sleeves, pretending to reread printed packets they already understood. Greg cleared his throat. "Okay, let's regroup on this." Melissa's face changed for half a second. I can't explain it exactly. It wasn't rage, more like panic slipping through a crack. Then it vanished. She straightened a stack of papers, said, "There's clearly been some miscommunication." And just like that, everyone accepted the safer version of reality. Meeting over. No apology, no accountability, nothing. I went to the bathroom afterward and locked myself in a stall because suddenly my whole body wouldn't stop shaking. Not Victoria's shaking. Adrenaline, shame, relief, nausea, all mixed together. Part of me genuinely thought I'd ruined my career. That night, Sophie texted me out of nowhere. "You finally scared her." I stared at the message for a long time, then typed, "I don't think so." Her response came immediately. "Oh, you definitely did." After that, the office got weirder. Not better. Worse first. Melissa became aggressively professional with me, the kind of politeness that feels like being lightly strangled. Every email, as discussed, per my previous message, just circling back. Greg stopped giving me direct feedback entirely, which somehow felt more stressful. A few coworkers started acting overly friendly, which was honestly almost insulting. Like they'd realized too late they picked the wrong side socially. Then, little things started surfacing. An analyst mentioned Melissa regularly blamed junior staff for her reporting mistakes. Someone from finance admitted she'd done something similar during an audit last year. Tyler accidentally forwarded the wrong Slack screenshot to the wrong person. That one spread through the office in under an hour. In a screenshot, Melissa had written, "She's getting weirdly confident lately." Tyler responded, "Give it a week. She'll fold." That hurt more than I expected. Not because it was cruel, because part of me realized they'd spent years discussing me like I wasn't fully a person yet. Just a workplace dynamic. A predictable reaction. I went home early that day, pretending I had a migraine. Actually, I sat in my apartment in gym clothes for 2 hours eating cereal out of the box, and wondering if confidence was just another performance people eventually get tired of maintaining. That's the part self-improvement stories skip. Sometimes becoming stronger just means becoming lonelier first. 2 weeks later, HR opened a formal review after finance uncovered altered reporting notes tied to Melissa's account. Even then, nobody marched her out dramatically. Real offices aren't movies. People whispered. Doors closed more often. Meetings appeared on calendars without explanations. Melissa still came to work every day. Still wore heels. Still said good morning. Still heated up oatmeal in the break room, like her life wasn't quietly collapsing around her. And honestly, that made me feel worse for her. One afternoon, I walked into the copy room while she was standing there alone, waiting for papers to print. She looked exhausted. Older, somehow. We both reached for the same stack at the same time, and she suddenly said, "I really did try to help you at first." I looked at her. She kept staring at the printer. "You were so..." She paused. "Passive. People dump work on passive people. That's just how offices work." Not even apologizing. Explaining. Maybe to me, maybe to herself. I said, "You could have just treated me normally." She gave this tiny, sad smile. "Normal doesn't really exist here." Then the printer beeped. She picked up her papers and left. That conversation messed with me more than the actual investigation did. Because I realized she wasn't some evil mastermind. She was just someone who adapted to a system by becoming sharper than everyone around her. And after enough years, she probably stopped noticing the damage. HR asked for my documentation the following week. A month later, Melissa resigned, officially pursuing other opportunities. Tyler transferred departments before quarter end. Nobody mentioned either situation directly again. That's another thing corporate environments are good at, erasing emotional evidence. A few days after Melissa left, Greg stopped by my desk, awkwardly holding 2 coffees. "I should have handled some things differently," he said. Very manager sentence, carefully measured, legally harmless. I nodded anyway. He left 1 coffee beside my keyboard and walked away before I answered. I never drank it. By then, I'd already accepted something uncomfortable. Nobody was coming to validate what happened perfectly. There wasn't going to be some clean movie ending where everybody admitted they underestimated me. Most people just adjusted quietly and moved on. But sometimes, that's enough. Last week, a new hire asked me how long I'd been with the company. 5 years, I said. She looked surprised. I thought you were management. I almost laughed. Not because it felt flattering, because if you'd met me a year ago, you would have walked right past me too.